Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. I am trying not to be too loud. My husband's still sleeping, and I tend to be really, really loud, but I did not want to miss the opportunity to chit chat with you this morning. So I'm just going to wait and see if anyone is awake as early as I am, even though it's not that early. It's 7 a.m. I know that a lot of us are just getting ready to start our day, and I just wanted to start. Tuesday's Teas with Annie. This is the first installment, and here's my tea with my fox mug, and here are my foxes. You will understand that I pretty much collect these puppies. So this morning, hi, whoever just joined, just drop a hello on the comments. I want to interact with you because it's really early. I might fall asleep. And cheers if you brought your own tea. Welcome to Tuesday Tea with Annie, and today I'm going to talk about what can potentially be the first step towards the life you want. I wanted to address one thing that we usually ignore when it comes to creating what we want. And it is the aspect of responsibility. And I'm not talking about blame. I'm not talking about guilt. I'm not talking about any of that bull crap that makes us feel like crap. I'm talking about empowering responsibility. And that is the topic of today. And once again, if you just joined, say hello in the comments and interact. Say what you think. I am here to chit chat with you pretty much. Today we are going to talk about what is the one thing that's standing in between you and where you want to be in your life. I have a lot of clients that when they call me the first time, they say, well, I feel like crap. I don't think that I am where I need to be. I don't know what I need to do. Life is really hard. Life is just not, I can't catch a break. That's what it seems like. It feels like I can't catch a break. Every time I feel like things are going right, then shit just goes down in flames. And it is a very common feeling. I mean, if you feel like that, just let me know. I mean, give me an amen, because I know that I felt like that before, but I don't feel like that anymore. I really have changed a lot, and it has a lot to do with not only my training and the fact that I'm a freaking coach. It has to do with some decisions that I've made in my life. And what we sometimes neglect to realize when we're facing hard moments is that there's a common denominator in this particular situations. And sometimes, like if we're having problem with our spouses, we think, yeah, the common thread is him or her. If we're having troubles at work, we think that the problem is our boss or our employer or whoever. But I am willing to guess, hi everyone, hi who's ever joining right now. I am willing to guess that if I were to look into your past, I would probably find that this is not a new problem for you. That not the first time you're having problems with a partner, or this is not the first time you're miserable at work. This is not the first time this particular problem shows up in your life. And if we do that, if that's true, if I'm not completely off the plate right now, that means that the common denominator is not your boss, is not your job, is not your partner, is you. If all of your relationships end up in a similar way, and you end up feeling the potential similar way, that means that there's a part of the responsibility that you have not acknowledged yet. And that is what I want to talk to about today. What is your responsibility in your life, and how empowering it is to take responsibility for your life? You can take up two types of attitudes when it comes to facing the world. You can potentially act or feel like a victim, like everything is happening to you, or you can be responsible, which means being able, having the ability to respond to things and own your life, take your power back. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, how to take your power back and how to start getting shit done so that you will get the results you want. So the first thing is that you need to realize that you are able to respond to everything that life throws your way. There's nothing life throws your way that you are not able to respond to. It doesn't mean that it is your fault. I'm going to be really clear with this. It doesn't mean that things are your fault. It means that you as a human being, if you're watching this, you're probably a grown-up. As a grown-up, you are able to respond to whatever life throws your way. Whether you caused it or not, you can make with it whatever you want based on the decisions you make. But you need to really be aware of this. And I'm going to talk to you about how to get that awareness, how to start practicing responsibility today. Okay, so the first thing that you want to realize is that responsibility, like I said, is not fault and it's not blame. It's just the ability to respond to the things that happen around you. I have a client that recently found herself realizing how far she's come. So she owns her own business, she has employees, and she has a very personal and close relationship with her employees. So usually, like at the beginning of the year before we started working together, if something happened with one of her employees, that would throw her whole day. That would really fuck things up for her. She would get sad. She would want to fix that rather than pay attention to her business. She would neglect the real important decisions that she needed to make because she was caught up in this emotional whirlwind that the relationship she had with her employees meant. So now she reached out to me. She's like, Annie, I can't believe how a shift in mindset has helped me navigate work and business and life and relationships. She recently, one of her employees had a very personal loss, and she told this person, you know what, I'm here for you as your friend, but I need to also mind my energy and I need to protect myself. She took charge of that situation. She was responsible for it. Rather than letting it consume her, she took responsibility for her emotions and the way she was acting right there. She couldn't do anything because it wasn't her fault. She couldn't do anything about what was going on with her employee, but she could, in turn, make a decision that could help her navigate a one-time difficult situation in a way that really, really served her. Now, I'm going to walk you through how she did that, how she shifted that mindset. The first thing that she did was that she got curious. She realized that, you know what, this is not working. Why isn't it working? Why is it that I let other people's energy absorb my mojo? Why is it that I get this mad with people when it's really not their fault? Or why is it that I'm letting this minute things take over my life? So she started really dissecting her life, looking at what works, because you really have to realize that not everything is shit. That helps a responsible mindset. And she looked at what didn't work. Okay, so you really need to get curious to start becoming responsible. You really need to look at the things that are going on around your life and in your life to become a responsible person. Once again, not a guilty person, a responsible person. The second thing that you need to do is get honest. Okay, so it doesn't matter how much you dissect your emotions. It doesn't matter how much you dissect whatever's going on in your life. If you're not honest about what's going on, which means what's your part in it, and that's really, really hard. I get it. Being a victim of circumstances is so much easier than being responsible. It is so much easier to say it's his fault, it's her fault, the universe is against me, than it is to say, you know what, I might have some responsibility here. And when it comes to responsibility, you have 100% of the responsibility within your power. You can't control the circumstances, but you can control how you respond to things. So you need to get honest about things, and you need to own your part. That's the first, like, really shift in the responsible mindset. You need to own it and realize that because you can own it, you can change it. That's where the power lies, you know? Hey, so after you get curious and after you get honest, you know what? This is a tough one, but number 3 is super important. You need to get fucking humble. You know, it's realizing that even though you have the power, and this one I struggled a lot with, being responsible, responding to things doesn't mean that you get to fix everything. It doesn't mean that you get your way 100% of the time. It means that you get to get yourself in check no matter what the result is. Doesn't mean that if you give your 100%, if you respond accordingly to things, that's the other 20% that's not your responsibility, that actually takes a part in it. So you really need to get humble and realize that even though you gave your 100, it doesn't mean you're gonna get your way, but also that you are not supposed to do this alone. And that's the tough one. Not going at things alone, it's super important if you really want to progress. This is why people get coaches. This is why people go to therapy. This is why people read self-help books. This is why people go to support groups. You are not supposed to go at life alone. I am not supposed to go at life alone. No one is supposed to go at life alone. You don't do that. So my invitation to you, when you get humble, start getting out and reaching out for help. Find the books, find the groups, find the people, coaches, therapists, whatever that's going to look like for you. You need to get to yourself to a level of humility that will allow you to start taking different action. Because if not, what is the point of getting curious? What is the point of getting honest if you're not willing to do something different? This is when the shift really happens. The first one is understanding that it's part of me, like I can respond to this, but the important part is to start doing things differently. And to start doing things differently, we need to get humble, realize we are not going to do it alone, and most importantly, we are not right about every fucking thing that happens. Because if we were right, we wouldn't be suffering. When you are taking different action, you start getting different results. Remember what Albert Einstein said? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. This is part of getting curious. What are the areas in your life in which you are doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Let it begin with you. If it's a relationship, start shifting your actions. Again, it might not end up the way you want it to end up, but the way you start perceiving life will be very different. The way you start perceiving that person, the way you start perceiving the relationship, same thing happens with work, same thing happens with money. If you're one of those people that's always thinking, I am broke, then fucking start saving. It's possible, even if it's just 5 cents at a time. Take different action and stop being stubborn. Be humble. And the last and more important one, and it's just a continuation of being humble, and I think I just mentioned it, is get to work. Do something different, whatever that is. If you want something to change, change. Don't expect people or things to just take it as it is because you're wonderful, because you're a victim, because this is not your fault. You need to start taking conscious action towards what you want. Be purposeful and take the steps, whatever that looks like. If it's reaching out for help, if it's doing something different, if it's getting that fucking gym membership, whatever that is, do something different and stick to it. This is usually when accountability comes into play. You know, when you do something different and it didn't really turn out the way I wanted, stick to it. Nothing happens in the next 90 days of changing your life. I promise you. The same thing goes for business. Everything you start doing today, you will really see the results in 90 days. And if you're patient and if you stick to it, and if you're consistent, you will start seeing your life change and you will get to the life you deserve. But you need to get humble. You need to get curious. You need to get honest, and you need to get to fucking work. Okay? And it starts with doing shit like this, showing up for Tuesday Tea with Annie, learning, starting to take notes, starting to pick one area of your life that you want to shift and start working on that one. So everyone that stepped around, and you who stuck around, who I don't really know who you are because I can't see it here. So if you want to say hi before I leave, do it. And if you want to leave your comments after you watch this, please do. Have your tea. Have a great day. This has been awesome. Can't wait to see you next week. Oh, and also on Thursdays, I will be doing Thriving Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Time in my group Untamed Woman, in which I will be talking about productivity tips and how to really thrive professionally and personally for women exclusively. So if you want to jump on that bandwagon, the link is up here. I think this is my Facebook page. So you could find Untamed Woman there. This has been really, really awesome. I can't wait to see you next week. Oh, and if you're watching this in English and you want to watch it in Spanish, follow me on Instagram. I'll be doing this same thing this afternoon. Bye, guys.